You hear that? That's the sweet sound of juice paint markers. That's right. I am finally trying these paint pens that I found in Japan called juice paint. And of course, this video is brought to you by Squarespace, bringing dinguses like me the tools we need to make websites. And this dingus loves a good swatch, so let's get into it. We're gonna start off swatching on some basic watercolor paper, but then we're gonna be doing some art on wood, a classic, and something I've been wanting to use POSCAs on for years, denim. Let's paint a denim vest. Let's actually see how fast it comes out when you, well, goodness. Oh goodness, that is highlighter pink. Oh, that is Barbie pink. Wow. Wait, this isn't the swatching portion. That was supposed to be the pumping portion. Okay, cue the music. It's swatching time. Maybe it's just because they're so fine-tipped, but my goodness, these markers are a little bit more on the dry side, and that does worry me with how fine-tipped they are. They might be better for smaller projects. Maybe they just need to be broken in. I'm hoping maybe the ink will start flowing with time. Also, these are called juice paint, but then they describe the product as opaque ink. So we're just gonna use words, and you know what I'm talking about. And this isn't over yet. We still have to do a few more tests out of the way. Markers, thank you very much. We have to blend our colors. We have to see how layerable and opaque they are. For some reason, the basic pack did not include white, so no white. I learned a few things about these markers. They're kind of hard to work with. So I'm worried, especially about the denim. You know what? Let's just get into it. I had a cute idea. Spring has sprung, so I wanted to draw a flower. I really wanted to embrace the bright, bold colors and what I thought was going to be the bold shapes of this art supply. Starting off with some simple blocking of some colors, and I was quickly reminded of how not only dry these markers are, but also how small this tip is. From what my Googling can find, these markers actually come in a fine and extra fine tip. This is unfortunately the extra fine tip. When you try new art supplies, you don't want to get every single color in every size. You know, you wanna try them out first, just in case you don't like them. For example, these markers, they're just so dry. It took me an hour and a half to color in this dark blue background on the left side, and several times I thought to myself, am I seriously doing this? So moving on to a lighter color, this marker was drier and lighter. And then I just got to this one little tiny spot that just refused to be painted, and I was over it. These markers are doo-doo, I'll say it. And you know what? Maybe it was a bad batch. Maybe I don't know how to use this art supply, but you know what? I do know how to use POSCA pens, and my God. Not only do I have a variety of thicker nibs I can use to paint these huge, bold areas much faster, just to prove how dry those pens are, I'm even going to completely fill in this light blue area with a even smaller POSCA pen. It's the closest size I could find to the Pilot juice paint, and even so, it was able to write a line nice and smooth and great. And unfortunately for juice paint, that was a very short-lived review. They weren't doing it for me. Wouldn't recommend. Maybe they're better on other surfaces. Not for me, I suppose. And in case you're curious, the total painting time of the light blue space was just 15 minutes with the POSCA pen. Welcome back, POSCA pens. I'm sorry I questioned you. So being the idiot I am, I couldn't stand having a different blue for the background, so I actually repainted over the entire dark blue area. It didn't go too well, but we do have an interesting texture, so there's that. I wanted to start adding some details. On the right side, we are adding some raindrops, and on the left side, I wanted to add the starry night sky, but once I started adding these very small details to what I was wanting to be a bold, thick, roundish illustration, got a little too cluttery and just not the vibe I was going for. So after all these stars I put down, I repainted over them. Some of the stars weren't dry, it was mixing with the blue paint. But to be completely honest, I was kind of embracing this messy, painted over, textured sloppiness. I liked the texture it added. It gave it personality. I'm trying to let go of my perfectionism. And I moved on to even thicker stars, and I mean very very thick. Look at these little thick guys. This was definitely the vibe I was going for. It's very cute. It's bold. Speaking of bold, we moved on to our colors. This is where the pieces really started to come together. It's as simple as switching the red to purple in the nighttime scene, the greens to turquoise. It's the same flower, same shape, but it's just a different vibe. I think this piece turned out really cute. I absolutely love the boldness of it. POSCA Pens saved the day. I did restrict myself to the same colors that the juice paint pens had. Not that it really matters at this point. We're just moving on to creating art to have fun. So I could potentially use any of the POSCA pens I have, but I like a nice restricted color palette, so we're going with it. Not to mention, I taped off the wood bits, so this is a pre-framed piece. I think this turned out very, very cute, and I'm definitely hanging this piece on my wall. Aside from tote bags, I think this is actually my first time using a paint pen on fabric, particularly used for wearing, I think. So I was nervous, but excited. But before we get into it, I do want to give a huge thank you to the sponsor of this video, Squarespace. Calling all ding-dongs and goofballs, people like me who can't make your own website, Squarespace is for you. Squarespace offers a complete library of professionally designed and award-winning website templates. It's got intuitive drag and drop editing, unrivaled visual designs. You can make your own online store, whether you're offering services, selling products, or both. Squarespace gives you everything you need to grow your business and get paid. Ooh la la. And with Squarespace payments, it's the easiest way to manage your payments in one place with Squarespace. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/KaseyGolden to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. The sudden realization that I have to relive painting on the denim. It wasn't that bad. It was just a little bit of a struggle. So jumping into it, I knew it wasn't going to go super well. However, I actually quite liked how it was faded and sort of blended into the denim. That's more my vibe. However, it still was a little hard to actually paint on the denim. This denim was also a bit elasticy. I don't know anything about the creation of denim or fabrics. So there's this diagonal groovy pattern that I was following. It made it very easy to run the brush against, and it would paint in between the lines. It was just a lot easier than trying to go against that grain. And it also gave me inspiration later for creating a more styled look. Now, my previous illustration with the two flowers, I love that bold, lineless look. Thick shapes, high contrast, fun colors. However, when your shapes start to blur and you don't have that high contrast, you reinforce the illustration and the shapes just a little bit more. So as I put these bold shapes down, I started to realize that they weren't going to look as good as I would like. Maybe in the future, I will just stick to actual acrylic painting. Pens are convenient, but not if the fabric does not want to work with the paint pen. Again, sticking with the spring theme, I was thinking of rainbows, colorfulness. White clouds would definitely pop on this dark denim. Rainbows come out of clouds. I like cats. Let's also draw a cat on it. Words, I'm stinky, I'm ugly. Let's just write that on it. There was a lot of factors to consider when drawing on denim. Things like what colors would show up, which ones would I not have to layer as much. The general readability was definitely a concern and a bit of a struggle, especially when it came to any color that wasn't white or black. It didn't entirely pop a whole lot. I knew I could depend on the black pen. It was bold, it was black, it was going down nice and opaque. So I knew black was definitely going to be something that I was going to lean heavily on, so line work definitely was going to be coming back. I wanted the front and the back of this vest to be similar, so I still wanted a cloud aspect. So I put one cloud on the front and had that cloud dripping black into the pocket, and out of the pocket came the color. And messing around with the anatomy of clothing is not something I usually consider with my illustrations, so that was fun. Now, what is it? It's just a cloud dumping black into a pocket, and it's coming out color. So after I got my basic shapes down, our little rainbow drippy ink paint colors, we returned to the words and I outlined them and also gave them a sketchy, pencil-y, textured look by also following the diagonal grooves in the denim itself. It was really convenient to have those diagonals there throughout the entire piece. The outline definitely saved the words. They were easier to read. They gave them texture. I liked the sketchy look. I wanted to play around with that hatching sort of shade style with the clouds, so I started just putting line work in as if I were inking it, and it actually sort of looks like an embroidery style. The way the white pen wasn't able to get a nice smooth white down does make it look like it is shaded thread. And of course that diagonal texture is sticking through the denim and it just looks like a threaded embroidery piece. When I added the black pieces, it definitely looked like there was black details threaded into it. I wanted to try to incorporate that diagonal sketching, hatching, embroidered look throughout the whole vest, and my pen was kind of struggling to stay alive. I knew there was ink inside of it, but I think the denim was just so thirsty. The pen was not having it, so I did put line work where I could, not as much as I would like to. I was really hoping to cover the vest a lot in this diagonal line work. It kind of looked like a mix between a cartoon, embroidered, cell shaded, strange look. I'll have to do some more thrifting in the future and maybe play around with more clothing art, maybe. We will see. Anyways, I believe that is that. I really wanted to like juice paint. The name is incredible. Oh well, at least I got a really cute flower piece to hang on my wall. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.